Welcome to the Infinity Academy from the Dice Gods. My name is Hydra, and in this series I'll be walking you through Infinity the game from Corvus Belli. We'll be starting with the basics of what the game is, then work our way up in future videos through the rules, table setups, missions, through to advanced tactics and running your own events and tournaments. Today we're starting right at the beginning. What is Infinity and how does it play? We won't be diving into the details of the system too much, just giving you a flavour of what it is, how it plays, so you can make a decision about whether it's right for you. Infinity is a science fiction wargame set around 175 years in our future. It is, in contrast to some other games, a future of hope and opportunity. Humanity has moved out into the stars, explored and colonised far-off planets. Whilst wars are less common, conflicts over resources and technology are somewhat more common within the human sphere. These normally take the form of covert operations conducted by trained operatives deep in the heart of enemy territory. That said, the arrival of the Combined Army, an alien army focused on absorbing humanity into their ranks, has changed the balance of power in the human sphere. As the incursions from this alien menace have pushed further into the sphere, humanity faces pressure from within and without. More details on the setting and information on the 40 or so different armies are contained within the core book, which comes with the main rulebook. You can also find more story for the game within expansion books, graphic novels, the Infinity role-playing game, the Direfirx expansions, and novels, although there is only one of those at the time of recording. Infinity, first created in 2005, was created by Spanish company Corvus Belli. It's a skirmish level wargame with a 28mm scale. In practice, this means you'll usually use around 10 to 15 miniatures for an army, so much smaller than other systems. The 28mm scale means that an average person would be 28mm tall in the game. Usually played with 2 players, Infinity is a game of intense action and cinematic moments. With some unique mechanics and style, the rules can seem difficult to begin with, but with the right approach, they reveal themselves to offer a depth which few other systems can rival. This depth leads to a wealth of options and choices which a player can make during their turn to turn the tide of the game in their favour. There are currently 2 versions of Infinity, CodeOne and N4. CodeOne is a cut-down version of Infinity with simplified rules, reduced options, and limitations on the armies which can be played, although new armies are being added all the time. CodeOne shares the same heart and DNA as N4, but removes some of the deeper rules from the game in favour of making it more newbie-friendly. N4 is the full 4th edition of Infinity. Every option, army, and choice is available to you. This can, at the start, feel somewhat overwhelming, but this is where most tournament play takes place, and to be honest, most players end up. When you have the core of CodeOne down, taking the jump to N4 is a logical progression which opens up more of the game to you and your enemies. All games of Infinity are mission based, with missions available in the core rulebook as well as for free as part of the Infinity Tournament System, ITS. ITS is a global tournament ranking system where you can pitch yourself against the best players in the world. Or not. You can just use the same missions to throw down on a Friday night with your buddies. Either works perfectly well. Most wargames use a pointing system for deciding the size of armies, and Infinity is no different. N4 games are typically between 150 and 300 points, though you can go to 400 points without an issue. Usually, you will see around 10 to 50 miniatures in a 300 point list and 7 to 10 in the 150 to 200 point range. What changes between those point values is the quality of the miniatures, their weapons and skills that you'll take. There is an upper limit of 15 miniatures contained within the rules for ITS, as in previous editions you would frequently see lists of 20 or 30 miniatures, which makes the game take much longer and is just not fun to play against for most people. By limiting the numbers, it makes the game flow smoother and makes it more interesting for all involved, as a rule. Speaking of timings, a typical 300 point game will run to about 2 hours, though that can be noticeably longer with newer players and shorter once you get the core gameplay mechanics down. Infinity is played on a 4-foot by 4-foot table, and players face off across the table through 3 rounds split into an active phase and reactive phase for each player in each round. During a player's active phase, they will spend a resource called orders to make their units complete actions such as move, shoot, close combat, dodge, amongst other things. The orders are generated by the troops you have alive at the start of your turn, so as you lose troopers, you will lose the ability to act in your turn. The first unique part of Infinity is that you may spend these orders as you see fit. If you want to spend them all on one trooper, no problem. It's called Ramboing, it's a legitimate tactic. Want to spend some orders on Trooper A, one on Trooper B, and then go back to Trooper A? Let's do it, no problems. Being able to complete multiple activations on your troop lets you make some really varied tactical plays. But that's not the only interesting part of Infinity. Whilst one player is active, the other player is reactive. So, if one of the reactive player's troopers can see or detect the trooper which an active player spends an order on, then that reactive trooper can respond. That's a pretty bland description. How about we give an example? Let's say the reactive player has a trooper, let's call him Angus, and he's stood at the end of a corridor. The active player spends an order to move across the corridor with one of his troopers where Angus can see. Angus can now respond to that movement by shooting or dodging or any one of a number of options. If the active player chooses to shoot at Angus, rude as that may be, then the shots between the two troopers, Angus and his active enemy, will interact with each other and can lead to even the active player losing miniatures during their own turn. This reaction mechanic, called an automatic reaction order or ARO, ensures that even reactive players are deeply involved in the game. Your troops don't just stand still as the enemy runs around in front of them or shoots them. The reactive player can still get involved and dish some pain right back. Infinity includes a great range of different skills and abilities, including electronic warfare, camouflage, close combat, giant robots, space ninjas, transforming robots, murder puppets, bikes, werewolves, and lots of things. This gives each army a unique feel and flavour, so each game will be different with Infinity. Just make sure to take it slow when learning the game. Don't dive in face first or you'll likely feel swamped in the deep rules. There are lots of great reasons to play Infinity, but here are our top 5. First, the gameplay. You're always involved in the game, you're always playing and able to impact the outcome of the game. In fact, the tagline for Infinity was at one point, and possibly still is, it's always your turn. This isn't a system if you like to sit down between your turns. Infinity provides crazy cinematic moments which can bring the most shocking of surprises, and few other systems will give you such a roller coaster or such an ability to impact the game even when it's not your turn. Next, the miniatures. If you like pretty miniatures, have a thing for sci-fi aesthetics, and like anything from evil aliens through to heavily armoured space knights through to baseball wielding cheerleaders, Infinity's got you covered. With some of the most gorgeous, detailed and consistently impressive minis in the market, these are a must. And who doesn't like a freebie, eh? Well, if you do, Infinity is perfect for you. Corvus Belli has the full rules available for download from their website, so you can try before you buy. And crucially, that is a living rulebook, so as amendments are made to the rules, that PDF will be updated. But that's not all. You also get a free online army builder for both PC and mobile, and the Infinity tournament system is updated annually for free as well. The links for all those are available in the description below. Speaking of ITS, the fourth reason is the ways you can play this game. Whether you're a serious hardcore tournament player or just in it for the narrative, Infinity is here for you. For example, there are regular global narrative campaigns which will let you impact the story of the Infinity universe. How awesome is that? Last of all, Infinity is an evolving game with a living rulebook on the website, monthly releases, annual 2-player starter sets, and much more besides. Infinity always has new things to do without reinventing itself. If you want to play a system which grows and develops over time, this is the one for you. So, if you're convinced and ready to make the jump into Infinity, Corvus Belli has a global network of players who make their time and tables available to teach new players. These marvellous folks are called Walkers, and their ranks includes me. If you'd like to find out more or get a demo, you can find a link to the Walker location map in the description for this video, and hopefully there's one of us near you to help you get into this fantastic game. Keep an eye out for the next video in the Academy series, or better yet, like, subscribe and hit the bell so you know when that next video is up. Thanks for watching.